Archon Mode, one of my favorite game modes in all of StarCraft 2, and yet something that we rarely see played at the competitive level. What I've got for you today should be a very exciting match of StarCraft 2. It's time for a Terran versus Zerg, where we have 8 Grandmasters facing off against each other. Now in Archon Mode, in case you're unfamiliar, you have players controlling one base all at the same time. So spawning right here in the bottom right-hand corner, playing with the blue Zerg drones, we have 3 European pro gamers, and they go by the name of Lambo, Elazer and Spirit. Their opponents in the opposite corner with the red Terran SCVs, we're looking inside of the main base of HeroMarine, Creed, CuKu, BattleB and EBA. So a 3 versus 5. Now, Archon Mode is fantastic because you can have one player dedicated to, for example, just one medevac. You can have one guy dedicated to microing a Reaper. You can have one guy in charge of macro. And splitting up all of the tasks is incredibly difficult to pull off successfully. But once it works out, and once you've got a bit of communication going, the sky is technically the limit. Because every single one of these players is capable of 300 plus APM. And obviously, because of that, these games can get crazy very, very quickly. Now it's gonna be a 3 versus 5 because overall the team in the bottom right is a little bit higher ranked. So I guess the grand total of MMR in this particular game probably, I guess it amounts to like 45,000 or so, which is pretty ridiculous. Now I can imagine not everybody is familiar with every single one of these names, so real quick, I mean, I guess you're probably familiar with Lambo, Spirit and Elazer. Interestingly enough, when it comes to their current world rankings, according to Aligalek, they're the current number 20, 21 and 22. Now, one thing to note, of course, is that Lambo and Elazer are Zerg players. Spirit, however, is a Terran, so we'll have to see exactly what his role is going to be in this match. But I guess maybe we'll find out later. On the other side, we have HeroMarine, who is considered to be the number 13 in the world overall. And he's joined by BattleB, who is the current number 64. CuKu, the rank 1 from Romania, the rank 108 overall. Creed, who's the number 111. And EBA is currently ranked 125. Alrighty, so one thing to note here is that I'm going to try and keep my eye out on everything, but I can imagine that there's going to be a lot of action around the map. When you have players dedicating all of their attention to just one unit, it can get a little bit crazy, so apologies if I end up missing an important drop or something along those lines, but I think we should probably be good. I should at the very least be well familiar with the pacing of this matchup, but it's going to be interesting, especially for a TVZ. I feel like in Terran versus Zerg, generally the faster... Ooh, he gets a kill. Generally, the faster player ends up winning. A little bit of trash talk. Obviously, that's the role of one player as well. You love to see it. I think that's the Terran saying, yo, how did you lose that Zergling right there? That shouldn't have happened. Buddy, pal. You have all your attention on just microing a single link. Does Spirit have the links? Ooh, EBA. EBA getting a little bit spicy here right from the get-go. You love to see it. Now, one thing I've noticed, I've played Archon Mode quite a bit myself, is that StarCraft players... And I'm not, insulting anybody here. It's just that most of these guys play a lot of 1 versus 1. They've probably played, in excess of like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 games, right? Like many of these guys will have played many, many games over the course of StarCraft 2's existence. We're not very good at communicating to our allies. Now, I know a lot of these guys are good friends, and I'm sure they have played games together in the past. But there's no denying that communication, especially when you're playing a 1 versus 1 game and trying to explain your exact thought process and assigning the different roles and not shouting at your allies, it's not easy. It is very tricky to... We're even gonna kill the... Okay, nice, the larva. It's very easy to... Especially when you're playing a defensive role, I found. It's very easy to just assume that your ally is doing something and that you're gonna be picking up this and that they're gonna be doing all of that at the same time. Communication is not, generally speaking, an RTS player's strong suit. Let's leave it at that. Anyways, the Hellions are gonna start roaming the map. Triple CC openers right here for the Terran, as we do have a Stimpack follow-up as well. So that's what I was talking about, like this speed that you need in this matchup oftentimes comes from that like Ling Bane versus Marine medevac type of army. And technically speaking, like one of the reasons why the top level Zergs generally win is because they're faster than the Terrans. And if the top level Terrans win, it's generally because they're faster than the Zergs. Nice snipe right there on the creep tumor. You love to see it. Yeah, so I can imagine one guy right now is in charge of the queens and all of the creep spread. Trying to get that creep tumor. Okay, I'm back. I had to get some water. Anyways, Veiling Nest comes up right here for Lambo, Elazer and Spirit as the harassment continues. So I actually don't really know exactly how the APM is calculated. Like, is this going to be... Oh, we may have a little run by over here. Did not expect that. Yeah, drones do get pulled, but the link's not quite in the right place at the right time. All right. Anyways, I think the APMs probably get added together. So there's a good chance we will see the APM go up to like, you know, 1500 plus here momentarily. Maybe after the AI games that I casted recently, that's not that crazy, but generally speaking, from a human, that would be a little ridiculous. Okay, so we're gonna be playing Mutaling Bane. This does get scouted here immediately by this Liberator, which is gonna be microed as well at, yeah, a ridiculous amount of APM. One guy just dedicated, I believe, right here to controlling that Liberator, so we're gonna do the little dance. The Queen and the Spore Crawler are gonna have to dance against the Liberator. But generally what I found in StarCraft 2, not just in Archon Mode, but just overall, being the aggressor is usually a bit easier because as the defender, you have to prepare in advance as to where you're gonna go and you have to like communicate a little bit more. I think in Archon Mode in particular, that is gonna be very apparent where, yeah, like maybe you make the assumption right now that these Zerglings are gonna be in place here to defend against these Hellions, but it's just a bit easier, I guess, to assign the roles here. So in the earlier stages of this match, I do think it's probably going to be a little easier for the Terran players overall, but very soon that map control should shift. When the Mutas start roaming the map, I guess there's going to be a Muta guy. I wonder if it's going to be Lambo, Elazer, or Spirit. I have no idea. I can imagine it's probably Lambo or Elazer doing the macro, and I guess maybe Spirit is going to be dedicated to microing the Mutas or something like that. I think that probably would be the best go-to option. Nice control right here, though. How many creep tumors have gone down at this point? Yeah, we don't see it over here because many of them never finish, right? It's not like we had a scan here to, yeah, snipe all of it. I mean, the creep spread is looking ridiculous as well, though. We're 7 minutes in, and despite all of those creep tumor snipes, we have had a ridiculous amount of creep spread here regardless. So I guess that also shows you what the actual limits are, right? Like, this should technically be possible in a regular game of StarCraft 2 as well. Alright, anyways, here come the Mutas. We have that armory coming up as well to go straight into the 2-2 research. If I were to make a guess, it's probably HeroMarine right here in charge of the macro of the Terrans. And he's basically saying, yo, CuKu, go micro these Medivacs. Creed, go micro that Liberator. Iba, go scan those creep tumors on the left. Right, I think that's probably the way they've assigned the roles, but still. There's a lot of communication that needs to happen. And StarCraft players, as awkward as we are, not our strong suit. Anyways, just a good old game. Ling Bane Muta versus, well, Marines and Medivacs and some other units as well that are available. We are going to go into the Widowmine play. I wonder if Widowmines get more or less powerful in these sort of scenarios. It, by the way, can be used very effectively as a practice tool. I remember Raynor recently bringing this up. I think when he was practicing for like that Zerg versus Terran early game recently, so that triple Reaper start, he specifically asks his friends to all play Terran at the same time against him. And that's when he found out, like a while ago at this point, I guess, that's irrelevant to, you know, the triple Reaper start, but this was like a year ago, he found out that if you want to effectively micro your queens in the early game, you need 3 control groups for them. Because if the Terran micros perfectly, which obviously if you have a bunch of your buddies all playing at the same time, massive medevac drop by the way at the same moment here inside of the main base. This is actually really going to hurt. He just denied the +1 upgrade over here too. So many drones end up going down. Lovely drop here. That surprises me a little bit. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that Archon Mode at this level of play generally is not really used as a competitive measure or a competitive tool, but to practice, to help one of the guys be better at the game. So say you're struggling in ZVT, what better way than to have, you know, 3 guys play Terran all at the same time and you play Zerg. And if you can defend their aggression, you can probably defend a 1 guy's aggression as well. It's just that it requires, oh, lovely player by the Terrans. They're dropping individual Marines right there on those Veilings. Those Medivacs were toast, and they got as much value out of them as possible. So we, by the way, do have multiple groups of Mutas. Not something that we normally see in a game of StarCraft 2. That was, of course, a bunch of damage done right there by the Terrans. Okay. But really nothing that is going to be game-ending, right? I mean, getting the upgrade actually is the biggest deal there. Losing those drones does suck, but getting the upgrades tonight is absolutely massive. So +2/+2 finishes up right now for HeroMarine and, well, crew. They're gonna have a significant lead right now. This upcoming attack is gonna be difficult for the Zergs right here to hold. Widowmine apparently got 10 kills as well on the Zerglings and Banelings, and while we do have the Mutas here diving deep into the base, I wonder how in the world they're gonna be able to clear all of this up. I mean, the splits here on these Terran units, it's absolutely ridiculous. When you don't have to worry about macro, you can just focus on splitting and microing your units to their utmost potential. Look at this stuff. Banelings coming in from the back as well. Nice little bit of pickup micro. I guess in the end, the reinforcing Zerg units will allow you to stabilize. But my god, was this a ton of damage done right here by the Terrans. They're going into the 3-3 research as well. They should really not forget about the +3 armor. Okay, finally some Banelings end up connecting. But that's, when you think about it, oftentimes the way that these Zerg defenses work, right? At some point, since, you know, Terran players are human after all, they will slip up somewhere and they will start taking losses where they shouldn't, but... Okay, well, this is looking a whole lot better right now with this Mutas actually coming back to join the fray as well. 2 Medivacs end up going down, I believe, and then also... Ooh, the Widowmines there get sniped. At the same time, those Thors earlier also ended up getting absolutely destroyed. A lot of Marines are popping out of those structures. There go the Banelings as well. I think it's about time for the Zergs to retreat, but you know what? This amount of creep spread? It allows Zerg to counterattack so much more rapidly, right? Like the fact that the creep is all the way over at the 3rd base of the Terrans, despite the fact that they've been trying to deny creep all over the map. Very, very impressive. All right, let's have a look at the APM. Yeah, I do think some of it gets added together. Obviously, rapid fire and all that usually inflates it quite a bit, but you can see that already we're up to some pretty big numbers. Okay. So, in the end, Zerg manages to stabilize here. They have decided not to tech up towards a hive, and I think that's because of that earlier aggression that was dealt to them. They're still not in a necessarily comfortable position, but it's starting to look a little bit better. Yeah, they're re-droning somewhat right now. They should start up the +2 melee upgrade pretty soon as well. And once they're comfortable, it might be time to think about going into a hive. So Terran definitely still ahead at this point in the game. I like their position quite a bit better. Mostly because they will be able to make that transition towards a proper late game army. So +3/+3 is going to finish up here very soon. They can start thinking as well about potentially going into ghosts and all that. I mean, maybe not necessarily the best choice against this unit composition just yet, but yeah, they have a lot of economy, and we've seen a lot of long games on this map, right? Where Terrans just simply are more comfortable at this stage. Generally, if it's an even game, I think Terran's more comfortable. When they're ahead like they are in this particular game, certainly they must be feeling pretty good. In the end, though, the highest you can go is the 3-3 research, right? So, as long as the Zergs here, as long as they're gonna be okay, and they get there eventually, it doesn't matter all that much. Bailing landmines are also something that you, generally speaking, can't focus enough attention on. It's got a lot of potential, but you have to be able to actually look at everything, right? How many times have we seen games where there are burrowed Banelings, the entire Terran army walks over it, but the Zergs just didn't have the amount of time there that they needed to try and shut all of it down. Widowmine. Okay, good connection over there. That's gonna push them back for a while. The Widowmine spread over here. It's a literal minefield. Getting so much damage in. Yeah, these +2 Mutas actually are putting in a lot of work. Maybe the reason why we don't see Muta play that often is just because they are a bit too APM intensive, yeah. So 2 groups of Mutas. Very, very cool. Okay. Quite a few workers have actually been killed here. Yeah, 20 SCVs. It's not really any... Like, I guess we had the Baneling connection over there. It's not really been like one big group that ended up really going down, though. It's mostly just a couple here, a couple there. Fantastic harassment, though, here, of course, by the Terrans. Little too deep maybe here, but manages to escape just fine. Muta's here trying to return as well. Widowmines, though. Ooh, that's gonna be painful. Yeah, a bunch of Zerglings there end up growing or going down as well, as they were underneath that Widowmine that exploded in the air. Alright, +2 is gonna come up here for those Thors in particular for now. Banelings. Okay, he's gotta be careful. I think the Terrans probably noticed that there were indeed burrowed Banes here, but they should be... Yeah, they should be very, very cautious. A scan would not be a luxury. don't step too far. Yeah, I think they must have noticed. They were pinging to the allies there that something was off. Okay, there's a scan available, finally. Maybe that's also a problem sometimes, right? When your macro is too good, you're too on point with the scans. Suddenly you can no longer, or with the mules rather, suddenly you can no longer use a scan. We should be getting into the, command center explosion though, right? This is the moment where Terrans go up to like a dozen orbital commands and life feels a whole lot better. These mutas are starting to scare me a little bit though, whenever they clump up that much. How many mutas have gone down at this point in the game? 24. Okay. They are getting some nice damage in, but this is like one bad engagement away from being a landslide victory for the Terrans, right? So I wouldn't mind seeing a transition away from the mutas. Instead though, what they're doing is doubling down. They're going into more mutalisks. I guess the answer here is, well, don't mess up. Don't fly into Thors. Don't get hit by Widow Mines. It's easy, just don't mess up. Hydroden, however, is coming here. Ghost transition is well underway as well, so every Terran player's favorite unit right now is starting to join the battlefield. Okay. Not bad whatsoever. Thors shooting some of their javelin missiles from a distance, but this marine harassment is absolutely relentless. They're waiting until they snipe that hatchery as well, until they were ready to retreat. Maybe the mutas can shut this down. I think that's why Terran decides to unload. Yeah, these medevacs were gonna be on a one-way trip anyway, so he decides to just get whatever value he can. Marine drop now in the main base too. Looks like the little drop over here at the bottom. The Marauders have finished off the hatchery, and the creep is starting to be pushed back quite a bit. Lurker Den, however, is on the horizon. +3/+3 is coming up. Adrenal glands also on the production tab. Zorks are trying to make the transition right here towards a more stable unit composition. So the mid-game army, is still around right now, but they're trying to move away from it. Terrans, however, already at a very nice late game, control here. So we've got the command centers. How many do we have? 8, 1, 3. Yeah, we literally have about a dozen here, with more on the production tab as well. The command centers are starting to be very oppressive at this point. At this point, Terrans don't really need that many SCVs anymore. They can start thinking about giving away a bunch as well in like a minute or two from now. So just start sacrificing them in favor of additional army supply. And you can start obviously also just scanning the opponent over and over and over again. And say for example you end up losing one of the CCs to a bunch of Banelings and Zerglings, you can just replace it. There's a sensor tower over here, so these Banelings are morphing in well within vision range. That's why some of the Terran units are heading on over in that direction. But again, I just want to bring up the communication. Whereas earlier on, it was the Terran player who was the aggressor, or I guess the Terran players, they were the aggressors. Generally, the late game is gonna be a lot more in the Zerg's aggression, right? So the Zerg is gonna be able to be, roaming the map a lot more, whereas the Terrans are turtling up quite a bit. And again, it's difficult. It's difficult to get much done when it comes to, defending every single angle. Then again, this map is relatively straightforward when it comes to defending. As long as you can control this section of the map, really the only thing you have to worry about is this area as well. Nidus Worm in the main base. Love it. There were already units, however, I think prepared to deal with the mutas. And as the units, were already on the perimeter of the main base anyways, the Nidus Worm gets denied immediately. We're gonna go for a Nidus Worm a little bit closer by. One Creep Tumor as well, just trying to be a nuisance. And now the Lurkers are here. Okay. Do we have one Lurker player? I guess so. The Ling Muta play, though, is gonna go to town as well. We have a bunch of Lurkers now also coming up north. So I guess this is one guy controlling a very strange and unique combination of units. Widowmine retargeting! Oh, lovely work. In the meantime, though, the Lurkers did get in position. We have a little bit of a Baneling mine over there, too. One Lurker from the high ground harassing this base to the best of their abilities. We have 3 scans going down at the same time, because 3 is better than 1. Actually, I don't think it does anything. But he does need some follow-up scans. I guess they all panicked and they all threw a scan down. And that's actually something as well that needs to be communicated, right? Like, dealing with Lurkers, you can't just, like, tiptoe your way around Lurkers. You either have to commit to fighting them or you don't. You have to make that commitment. And if there's a little bit of a dispute, right? One guy's like, we shouldn't jump them. The other guy's like, we should jump them. it can go wrong very quickly. Because if you stand within range of those spines, life can become a bit of a disaster. Now we have a lot of missile turrets over here. I guess that's to get rid of those mutas. Nidus Worm in the main base, not going to happen for now, but it's getting a little bit closer than what it was previously. And the Zergs are doing an excellent job here. Yeah, now their upgrades, of course, are basically even. They're going into the spellcasters as well. And you know what? I think ultimately, right? Zerg at the highest level of StarCraft 2, which I think this can be considered as, right? Because the APM is no longer a limitation. Probably has the best late game unit composition. Like, imagine one guy dedicated to infestors. Imagine one guy dedicated to vipers. It's usually the control. I guess you still have to be in sync, but it's the APM and the control that's the limitation. And as a single player, it can be really difficult because you're quite literally controlling like 5 different control groups. But I guess if you're playing Archon Mode, that's not nearly as big a problem. Obviously, the Zergs also do have Spirit on their team, who's very familiar with turtling on a map like this. So there's a chance that he maybe knows some areas where they can harass and they can send some troops to. And he may be able to spot vulnerabilities that Zerg players may not naturally be thinking about as much. Okay, that's a lot of creep tumors going down. Now, what Terran strategically is aiming for at this point in the game is a full split map. If they can create a full split map and they can mine out this base over here as well, they're gonna feel a lot better about themselves. Generally, it's the players that mine more that will end up winning here. Now, if it's an even game where both players mine out about half of their side of the map, since Terran is more cost efficient in their trades, you can see that reflected here very clearly in the units lost. Generally, if it's an even map where, well, both sides of the map are mined out by each player or each group of players, it'll be the Terran who comes out ahead. So that's why we do see this, slower pace right now from the Terrans here. They're trying to create a split map scenario. Oh, big fungal growth over here, though, in the bottom left-hand corner. Zergs are forced to be aggressive because there's really no way that they can allow that split map. But honestly, if they can mine out this base and they can prevent the one over here, or maybe even take it, if they can mine out half of that base, for example, they're in a fantastic spot. At that point, all of these inefficient trades no longer matter as they've successfully stolen a base from the Terrans. So I think that'll probably be the plan right here for the Zergs moving forward. Obviously, the fights will continue, and we will see as many trades here as possible that are hopefully for the Zergs going to be somewhat in their favor. For the Terrans, however, they're happy to just trade continuously as long as they can secure one of the 2 bases that are still available. So it's either going to be this one over here or it's going to be the one up here. Whatever they deem to be the easier one to get down. I mean, there's a group of ghosts here trying to be a nuisance. Just ready to snipe whatever they can. Banelings over here do end up connecting. Okay. So much action all over the map. Nidus Worms on the left side. I love this spot. This does get spotted immediately, of course. Oh, Planetary is in range? Wow, okay. They did get the high-sec auto-tracking upgrade some time ago. Yeah, there it is. So that's going to give those planetary fortresses 1 additional range, which doesn't sound very significant, but I think that's the reason why that planetary could actually shoot it there. Cute little niche upgrade that we rarely see used, but apparently it's effective. Lurkers actually are very tricky to attack in this area, so if you get like a bunch of Nidus Worms over here and you just burrow the Lurkers, Terran's usually very focused on the right side of their front, right? They're no longer going to be falling here towards the back. Okay. So this base is sort of acquired. Yeah, they're doing the same thing up north right now. This is going to be within the vision range, apparently, of the Terran. So HeroMarine is going to be sending his partners on over in that direction. The harassment continues. Okay, as Terran is slowly trying to secure dominance of this map. We haven't seen any real Brute Lord or Spellcaster play here yet. I mean, we've had a couple Infestors, but nothing all too crazy. Ooh, that's mostly due to the fact that we have, of course, a lot of those ghosts out. They prevent the Zergs from being able to properly play that late-game army. We do have a Greater Spire, however, coming up, and Greater Spire together with all these units can be very good. Now, the Mutas decide to dive super deep, going after the ghosts and the siege tanks as well. That was a dangerous commitment, but I think it actually worked out quite well right there for the Zergs, albeit a very, very expensive set of losses as well. Generally, in a quote-unquote normal game of 1 versus 1, at this state in the match, right, at this stage, we would see a ton of money in the bank. But because of this non-stop trading, neither players neither group. I have some autopiloting apparently whenever I cast games. So you notice that too? Anyways, neither players apparently really have neither group of players, I guess that's the best way to describe it. They have enough money here to remax. They don't really have just that instant remax that we usually see at this phase in the match. That's actually really cool. Yeah, the constant harassment here has been insane. All right. I do believe, though, that the age of the Muta is over. Yeah. Whatever Mutas are still around at this point, they're nice to have, but I do think the Zergs are going to be making that transition towards the Brute Lord. At the same time, Terrans, yeah, they're making the transition towards a more Terran mech-focused army, as we do have the Hellbats, the Blue Flame Hellbats. They should be getting their +3 armor upgrade right now, the vehicle plating level 3. That's going to make them very tanky, and of course they're going to be capable of one-shotting Zerglings as well, which is going to be absolutely amazing here. Well, against this particular Zerg army still. I think that's also why Zergs are, yeah, they're now starting to make that transition away from this Ling Bane Muta-based army into something a little bit more rigid, because the Blue Flame Hellbats are just insanely powerful when it comes to dealing with Lings. Alrighty, so this transition is well underway right now. The Zergs know it, the Terrans know it. So, yeah, we have a lot of units that are now currently being phased out. The Marines probably won't be around for too much longer either, although, yeah, it's only 18 at this point. They're gonna be replaced once they die. I think so anyways. Well, I say that. They decide to power up additional Marines here, but I think they will probably be phased out over time with more of those mechanical units instead, as the ultimate late-game army for Terran is, of course, Ghost Mech. Alrighty. So, the Terrans have decided not to jump the gun when it comes to securing one of those two bases. Slowly harassing the one over here, and now that apparently this base becomes pivotal is when we decide to take it. Sometimes we see Terrans rushing this base a little too quickly, and then I can't even really commit enough SCVs to it. Yeah, I think this is very, very clever. I love the positioning actually here of basically everything that the Terrans are doing. This planetary fortress in the choke point, super tricky to break. Sometimes we see a planetary over here too. Big fan of that one as well, but I guess with the amount of units dedicated to this area, they don't really need it. Alright, so planetary is coming up, sensor tower, missile turrets. The Terrans here in the meantime are harassing another base. This is not a particularly relevant base anymore, but still nice to, medevac? Still nice to shut it down, of course. Maybe get rid of some of the larvae, some of the queen potential as well, because that is one of the units that will usually be coming up at this stage in the game, since Zergs will usually be running out of gas here. They're gonna be adding on whatever spellcaster they can, and it turns out this spellcaster over here, she only calls minerals. Big fungal growth here once again. Are they gonna add on even more Marines? Yeah, they do add on more. That's interesting to me. Okay, no, they get cancelled. Okay. They get cancelled. Fair enough. That makes a lot of sense. We're gonna be replacing them here with some higher tier units instead. Now, this is the first time I believe that the Brute Lords are properly engaging. Ghost coming in for the snipes right away from the flank though. We're gonna need to see some sort of fungal growth, I believe, but medevacs have already evacuated some of these units out of here. The Zergs, of course, realize that this base is pivotal, right? They need to make sure that the Terrans are not allowed to take this expansion. That's exactly why they're putting in so much effort right now. A little bit of a medevac drop apparently does indeed finish up that base down south, but I don't think it's nearly as important. The Zergs are starting to create a chokehold on this base. It looks like the Terran army is too far south to be able to contest this, and the base, for now, does get shut down. Keep in mind, though, that this base over here at the bottom has also been shut down for a while already. It's not like the Zergs can, you know, really outmine the Terrans here by, you know, just having that additional base here. Now, it's effectively a split map, but, well, two bases on the map are not taken. So that's still an advantage for Terran. Okay, the Queens are starting to slow push their creep forward. Keep in mind that Queens can only transfuse while they are standing on creep, as of the most recent balance patch in StarCraft 2, so that's why the Queens are not too deep off creep. But you know what? This Brute Lord, Queen, Zergling, Muta, Ling, Bane, Infestor, Hydra, Lurker, whatever, right? We've had a lot of different tools here. This army composition is painful, dude. It deals a lot of damage. Then again, though, right now, the Terrans here are focused heavily on just Thors and Ghosts. And Thors and Ghosts are the natural predators right here of these brutes. They put in so much work. Those Thors with their well, ability to outrange the brutes, and then obviously the ghosts with their snipes as well, their EMPs here. Very powerful. Once again, though, a couple Vikings now also joining in the fray. I actually quite like that. Once again, though, we do have the Brute Lords here putting in a lot of work. Those Brutelings are blocking a lot of the Thors from getting into the proper position. Most of the Queens right now do no longer have any energy, but we do have a couple of Neural Parasites going down. What an absolute massacre here, though. Despite the fact that a lot of the Terran units there ended up falling, that was effectively a last-ditch effort right there from Lambo, Elazer, and Spirit as they tap out, which means that HeroMarine, Creed, CuKu, BattleB, and Eva, that means that they obtain the victory. Hey, real quick, if you enjoyed watching this video, let me know down below in the comment section. Would you like to see more Archon Mode? I have some more replays. So this particular match was from Hearthstone's Archon tournament. So huge shout out to him as well for sending over these replays. But if you guys are interested, I can definitely cast a couple more bangers from this event. Anyways, for now, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again tomorrow for another video.